Okay, we had an idea. What if we took one of the tracks and rubbed some voodoo on it and made it a karaoke track, complete with scrolling lyrics and everything? That way our friends that sang could go and take it out to the places that they do karaoke at and sing with their friends. Maybe we could even have a contest and see who would be willing to put it up on YouTube and win a free CD. So tonight I'd like to take you through the exercise of how I turn a track into a karaoke track. Okay, before you start, you want to create an empty work folder for your project. And inside this work folder, you're going to add 2 mixes of your song. One with vocals, one without vocals. It's important that these are the same length. You should also create a text file containing your lyrics to make it easier to work with KB Studio. We're going to be using a product called Karaoke Builder Studio, or KB Studio, to turn the MP3's into karaoke tracks. You'll see a preview window on the left-hand side and a lyric sheet on the right-hand side. The first thing we're going to do is click the audio button to pick up the MP3 track that we're going to use when we build this. We're going to use the track with the vocals. Next, you'll set the Settings tab, and this is where you'll put in the track title, artist, and comments that will appear on the screen when the karaoke track plays. Click the Track tab to return to the lyrics editor. Now we'll add the lyrics in. Once you paste them in, you'll notice that they'll show up on the preview window on the left-hand side. Each time you have a blank space in between lines, it indicates a new screen that will show up. Click each screen just to make sure your lyrics fit on the screen and you don't have any long lines that run off. Before you do anything else, save. It's important to save often when you're using KB Studio. The next thing you'll do is you'll hit the sync button, and this will allow you to sync up the lyrics to the music. You do this by tapping the space bar as the singer sings. You'll tap the spacebar each time a word changes, but don't worry about it being perfect. We're going to fine-tune this later on. If it's really, really bad, then just hit the back button to restart from the beginning. When you're done, you'll hit exit to return to the editor. Now we're going to click the edit button, which will allow us to fine-tune how the lyrics are shown. When the edit window opens, you'll see a waveform on the left-hand side and a preview window on the right. Lyrics are shown as orange blocks of text. You can scroll the display by just moving your mouse wheel. Pressing spacebar will play the track, and you can see how the scrolling lines up with the audio. What you want to do now is make sure that the words line up precisely with the text. If they don't, you can move them here by simply selecting a block and then either using the keyboard controls or your mouse, you can move the blocks up and down in time. You can also change the length of the blocks so they match. You'll want to go through the entire song and make sure all your words are lined up correctly. Next, you'll hit the Display Remove tab. This is a similar screen to the lyric sweeping, except the waveform is now on the top and the preview window is on the bottom. Each block that you see now corresponds to a line of text on the screen, so the entire block shows you when text appears and when it disappears on the screen. Just like the lyric sweeping, you can select the block, move them, and resize them so the display makes sense. When you're done editing here, click Save and OK to return to the main editing window. At this point, you're done. The next thing you're going to do is build your karaoke track by pressing the Build button. You'll have a choice of bin files or CDG files. Bin files are if you're making a karaoke CD, which very few people use now, so you want to do the CDG file. It'll ask you for a location and default to the folder that you work in, so we'll just save that there. When it's finished, it'll ask you if you want to play the file, and you'll hit OK. a separate player will open showing you what the finished karaoke track looks like. The goal here is to make sure that everything looks exactly the way you want it to, and if it doesn't, go back into the editor and re-edit it. Now that we're done building our karaoke track, we can exit KB Studio. In your working folder, you will now find that you have a CDG file that matches the file name of your MP3 file. It's important to note that karaoke software requires the CDG name to exactly match the MP3 that it's associated with. Right now, our karaoke track matches the file name of the track with the vocals in it. Create a new subfolder named Final. Now we're going to move the non-vocal track and the CDG file into that folder. You'll want to rename your CDG file to exactly match your MP3 file. I prefer using the artist track name, so I'm going to change the name of my MP3 file to just indicate Falcon Awesome - Knick Knack. Then I'll rename the CDG file to match that. The last thing you want to do is create a zip file containing both of these. If you're running Windows, just select both files, right-click, then you're going to send to compressed zipped folder. And that will create a zip file with the same file name as your CDG and MP3 file. Most professional karaoke software automatically recognizes a zip file contains the CDG and MP3 and will play them as a single file. Some older software doesn't recognize zip files and they expect to see both the CDG and MP3 files. The best way to take your karaoke tracks to a new venue is to simply put all three of these onto a USB key. This way, no matter what software they're using, you're sure that they're going to be able to play your songs.